Hey everybody. Last time I started on the camera animations, and that's worked out pretty well. I started with and I demonstrated my changes that I was making for the TypeScript, and then like any fixes that had to be like when you change the TypeScript, a bunch of compiler changes and then changes will happen, and then it's and then Angular forces you to fix those, but they're good, and they kind of point out like sort of small flaws that you currently have that to accommodate the changes that you're trying to get to. And those small flaws have a strong tendency to become big flaws if you ignore them early on. So it just kind of forces you to do that, to fix them. So this time, in that still moving in that direction, all my changes are fully. I almost want to call them front end, but this is all front end. But like they're all like HTML and component based. So the TypeScript kind of captured a bunch of breakages in the services and even some breakages in the components. But now I have to enable or empower the user to be able to make to be able to animate and unanimate cameras. So that was pretty straightforward. Although there was one got you that is just like it took me a long time to figure out, and it is very typical in Angular when you're working with material. There's just like small like when you copy and paste code from the material side and then you sort of copy and paste other code and you try to mix them together, sometimes things break in unpredictable ways. But before I get to that, I definitely wanted to kind of describe the changes that or the animation that I have created with my tool, because that is really a big part of this. So basically, what I have here are two walls, right? I have a left wall and a first wall and a second wall, or a left wall and a right wall. And then the left wall is like tall and let's see, it is sitting at the -2 position, and it is only zero point 0.1 thick, and it's got a height of 10 and a depth of 3. So it's for us, it's like 3 deep, and it's sitting over at the 0 position of the Y and the 0 position of the Z, and the camera's sitting out at 5. So we're sitting in front of this, watching this wall to the left, and it's like we're in a pitch dark room, and there's some sort of lights moving along the side, and then they kind of come in from the left, and then they go to the right. And then so that's how the walls are, and then we have some lights, and they're probably easier to see in the animations. So we have a red, a green, and a white light. The red starts at the -3, I mean -5, which is I believe slightly off screen, and then -3 and the Y. So the red is coming in sort of um, I'm sorry, it's starting up here, sort of off screen right here, and it ends down here. And so it kind of comes through, it hits right about there, and then it hits this other one right here because it's coming zoom through here. And then the blue is kind of doing the opposite. It's coming up and going through there. And then so if we pause this and we just kind of move through, um, we can see what like the current Y position is. And then let me scroll up. And then as we move across, it becomes visible to this guy. Um, so I'm guessing the light is above here and coming down here, the spotlight, but it isn't big enough to get to the actual thing. So I'm actually surprised because this is, and now boom. And so the light is sitting right to this side of this. So that's why we can see it there. So yeah, if we move left, it's over here, and then as we move here, and now it's just on this side of the over here. But see, now the red is past, and you can never see them hit because there's nothing to reflect the light. Like they probably hit right around there is where they um, all get like where they're touching, and you can't really see anything because there's no thing in the middle. And so like for funsies, what we can do is we can come into the mesh And let's just make the first wall, instead of 3 deep, we'll make it 30 deep. So that means we'll be completely to the left, right? So the wall, okay, so now if we take this animation and we go to the left, so we're bringing all these guys to the left. They're on the other side of the wall, and then here's where they cross the wall. Um, if we go too far out, then the light doesn't even affect the other um, wall on the right, and then we move over there, and then, but we can still see light reflecting. We can see light. We can't see the light on the wall because there's no reflective surface pointing towards us, but we can see the light on the other wall still heading. But if we go to the mesh and we expand this, and then we make the height or the depth 30, so we do the same thing, 30, and make the height 10. So basically we have two identical walls on both sides. Let's make it 100. And then let's see. So that's not doing what I thought it would do. So it's a good opportunity to learn something. So let's go here. So okay, so so I guess what was happening there is part of the light was still sticking out through the thing. So if we had like a little indicator, we'd be able to see the little light bulb sticking through, and then it's completely blocked. So you can see that. So now I think, let's see what happened. There might be a part sticking through right now, but we'll see. Let me go with the mesh and make this first wall, instead of 10 tall, we'll make it 30 tall. So yeah, so part of the mesh is, so part of the light is kind of sticking through, I guess. And then so if we go to the left, that's weird. So, I don't have, okay, go to the left. Okay, yeah. So at this point, the light is all to the left of the camera. I mean, of that wall that we're sitting inside of. So just for some validation, I'm going to change the camera to be at I'm going to move it to the -5 position because the lights should be over there. So 5. Yeah. See, so we just slid the camera to the left. It's still trying to look at 0, 0, 0, but we're on the other side of the main wall. So like one thing we could do is, that probably wouldn't do us any good. But so now let's change this to 4. So you can see we're moving the camera. And this is where it would be kind of cool, like when I have the animation, the camera animated. So it could be following. I could add little like indicator meshes, little spheres that are kind of following along, and then the camera could be like moving through and showing both sides of the wall as they happen and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's that. It's not really related to what I did in my last coding session. And I don't know, I think the lighting is really cool. I added another little light over here to my left. I think I'm lit a lot better than I was. Still not exactly sure. But basically so the way I architected camera a little different. Let me turn that animation back on just so there's something interesting going on. And then I guess I should move the camera back to 0. There we go. I think that's cool. So I architected this early on a little different than I did the other ones. And the main thing that drove that was the fact that there's only one camera in this current real scenario. Oh, I got 42 seconds. And I definitely totally separated the way the orthographic works and the perspective, which in retrospect that I think is a mistake. I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm starting to feel very strongly that was a mistake. I definitely want to see how this all plays out. Like, I think there's a possibility that what could happen is like camera could be different. I mean, could be done, or we may never use orthographic, like it's possible. Like, I don't even know like what something like this looks like. Let's do that. That'll actually be fun to do. Let's change this to orthographic. Yeah. So orthographic doesn't even show anything at all. And that, so at this point, I don't even know. Like, I might abandon orthographic completely. Make it. It may just not be worth it. Um, or it could be that camera kind of gets settled out and is matures out and doesn't need any changes after, in 3 or 4 months, and so then there's no reason to ever go back in here and fiddle with it anymore. Or it could be that it just continues to be a thorn in the side, and if that happens at some point, I'll have to just bite the bullet and refactor this to be more like um, the way the meshes work, where the different types of meshes still share the same interface. But with that said, that was not what I did. That was, so basically, this is, if I had done it the way meshes, this would be half the number of files that I'd be trying to maintain right now. Um, and and it is weird that perspective form and orthographic form don't need the same CSS. Um, so that'll be interesting. Let me go look at that real quick. Look at the orthographic form. And that works just fine without the CSS change. Um, Now let's look at perspective form. And that, oh, okay. So perspective looks a little bit better because the font size is a little smaller, um, and the font type is Roboto. And when we go to orthographic, and actually I don't know which one looks better, to be honest with you. I think what I'm going to do is just get rid of this altogether. Um, I'm not going to save it because I don't want to lose the animation. Um, let's see. Oh, and then we aren't even seeing animations because it's orthographic right now. And so anyways, so just ignore that ever happened. So in the 8 data, so where there's 2 modes, just like everything else, there's a raw data and all that. And we have our animated down here at the bottom, and that's all I added. And that was super simple. This was kind of interesting because see how I have map form filled up here? Okay, this is a bug. This is what took me forever because this just wouldn't work. So when I had my map form fields like this, and this was only because of a copy and paste for the form controls for the input. Control Z. So when you change this to be like this and like this, and I search and I can tell because of my search history that I've had this problem before and I haven't documented it. See how we now have an error, and let's see. No, this is not the error. Oh, it's because I think it added a, yeah, it just auto added a close tag. So all right. So when I save this, and this doesn't give me a an error here. All right, what are you doing? I can't believe this. This is, oh, that's because I have, and I didn't have this. Okay, yeah, let me get rid of this div. So I didn't know that if I just added a div like that. Let's see. Well, yesterday this was breaking on me, and today it is not. Let me try restarting. This is weird. So yesterday I was getting a weird compile error. Oh, okay. Now, okay, yeah. Then it happens in real time. That's right. Then you come over here and you hit the edit. What in the world? Let me look at my silly rabbit. Camera animated. Well, I do not even know what's happening because now this was yesterday. This was actually breaking when I had this map form group on that side. Now it is not breaking, so that's funny. And the way I fixed it was changing this to a div from a map form field. Let's see if it's unique. Oh, that's because, okay, now I know. Yeah, now all hell breaks loose, and this is broken. Right here, I got all these crazy console logs. So, anyways, yeah. So the fix for that, that's so funny. Um, the fix for that is to not put it in one of these map form fields. Um, And to be honest with you, the biggest reason I'm taking so much time on this is because uh, if I ever need this in the future, I definitely want to be able to have access to this video and see see the problem. Let's go to camera, orthographic, show edit, and now the bug is gone. So, anyways, this comment is the important thing, and spelling isn't that important inside. Um, so there's that, and that's the main thing I wanted to get out of all that. Inside of map filled, and that's that. So that's cool. That's really freaking cool. This I will never forget this again. Probably mostly because I made a video about it, and that's kind of the point. Um, Now, let's see. In the TypeScript, I basically just had to import the check module, mat check module, and then I'll try to hurry now. Yeah, just the imports, and then I had to add it to the form controls, which makes a lot of sense. And then in the subscriptions, I had to update it so that I could update the camera. So basically, this just takes the animated and changes it to false. And it's very important when you do something like this that you actually test it in some way. And sometimes it's kind of tricky. You have to think of a way. But see how animated is currently false. And then if I click over here, and then I click that, and then I come back, animated is true. So at least I know that the animation toggling worked. And then basically I had to do the exact same thing for forms, and that's about it. The next thing on that I need to work on is, I need to commit this, and then I need to go into the TypeScript side, and I will probably need to do some, based on what happened with the other ones. I'm going to basically, this form here, there's nothing in the form in the constructor that's listening for the effects for the updates. I'll likely have to, oh yeah, here we go. Here's our effect for updates. And oh no, we are listening, so that may not need to do that. I think I do though, because if I remember correctly, I'm probably not updating it. So I probably need to go and make sure that the updates are happening, so that the animation form can hear that it happened, and then probably the next step. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I just need to move forward on this. I think the next step will probably be to update like those typings so that so it shows up in the animation list. I don't have anything animated right now, so if I add a mesh and then I edit it and then I added it to the animation list, and then animations, it knows to show something there, and we have that TypeScript and that code that checks to see if there's anything that's animated, and if there is, it checks to see if it should show it in there. I'm going to need to update that to accommodate this new thing, and then I'm also going to need to actually update the animation code to actually animate it. So that's what's up. It'll probably take 2 or 3 more sessions to get these things animated, to get the camera animated and working, and then and then after that will come the scenes. Well, there's actually like 6 properties that need to be animated: X, Y, Z. Look at X, Y, look at X, look at Y, look at Z, and that's about it. So everybody, happy coding. Bye.